are very, very, very important. It really does affect us with our attitude, like I said, with our decision making, or, just basically the people that we attract is due to that. So I spent years of my life, blaming, my mother for a lot of things that happens in my life. Any decisions that I made, good or bad, I blame her for a lot of things, because I felt like if our relationship was better, if she would have just understand me, maybe this wouldn't happen, or that wouldn't happen, or things would be much easier, like my path, my human experience, or my spiritual path would have been much easier. But it took a while for me to deal with that, because I like I said, I felt like I was the black sheep of my family. Like people didn't really understand me. My father didn't really understand me. I don't, really have, I never felt like I belong, and she never made me feel like I belong, to the point I used to question if she was even my mother, and that was something that I always had in the back of my mind, because we didn't have that connection. And I used to really envy other people that have those type of relationship with their mother, have healthy relationship with their mother, because I didn't have that. And the fact that I didn't have that healthy relationship with my mother, I think it kind of affect the way I am, as a friend back then. It affect my friendship, how, I question my own parenthood, like my own, me being a mother. I tend to question myself a lot back then, how I am as a mother. Am I a good mother myself? So a lot of things that I grew up seeing, in my household, or with the women in my family, those things do follow us, and sometimes when we have issues, like family issues that we never address, it goes unnoticed. We don't talk about it. We just, it's just everyone just go on about their business, act like it never happened. And after a while, those things pile up. And it does affect me. And I realized that it always had affected me. I never actually, felt like I was giving a chance to even hear my side, or to even show them or show her who I am, like what was hurting me, what was affecting me, what she did was affecting me, because it just felt like I didn't belong, and I didn't know, like I didn't really know, in deep down in my heart, I didn't feel like she was my mother. I never had that feeling, and I hid that part of me for a very long time, because sometimes you ashamed to tell people things like that. You afraid to say it out loud, to say, oh, I don't have a connection with my mother, and I never did. I used to force my honest. It affected a lot of my relationship, and it affected me in a very big way, because like I said, I was a very angry child. I was angry a lot of times. I was really defensive. I always felt like someone was picking on me, or I always feel like I have to defend myself. I have to stand up for myself, because that's how they used to make me feel in the family, and that's how, especially her, she used to make me feel. So I carried that energy throughout my whole childhood, and being on this spiritual journey made me realize, like, I don't have to hold on to that. I don't have to carry on that, and I was so afraid to disconnect with my mother or my parents, and I was so afraid to tell people these things, because again, we raise in a society that forces us to, even though we don't have a relationship, it's like I was being forced to accept certain abuse, and it to the point like I'm like, well, this is normal, until I got on this journey and I was like, no, this is not normal. It's affecting me. It's affecting me spiritually, mentally. Like, it was affecting me. So I know I had to make some type of changes, because if I want to do different, if I want to be different than my mother or my parents, I have to also change. I have to let go of that resentment that I had towards her, and really like try to understand, her better, and so I can also be a good mother to my child. You understand what I'm saying? And all of those emotions that I used to feel back then as a kid came from that. It came from, holding on and carry on to this burden, that resentment my whole life, not being heard, not being heard. No one really cared about me. I was forced to actually raise myself, figure things out on my own type of thing. And I carried it my whole life. So it really made me, it kind of stripped me of a lot of things, a lot of things, because I spent my life trying to figure myself out. I spent my life trying to understand me, or understand why we don't have a relationship. And I fought very hard to have like a very healthy relationship with my mother. But unfortunately, it comes a time where you have to say, okay, yeah, I think this is not gonna work. And I tried, you tried, it's just not meant to be, and I think I just stripped that, let me stick it out and for the sake of society. But then when I sit back and look at it, I'm sticking it out, but I'm hurting. I'm sticking it out, and I have to deal with a lot of things behind closed doors that people don't know about. And it's a lot. I had to fight. It's a lot, and sometimes it is the best thing to do is to end our friendship with our parents. In a healthy way. It's not saying that you don't love them. It's saying like, this is no longer working,